Friends, hi. A very warm good evening to all of you. This is Nitin Soni, and I welcome everyone to this online discussion with the author himself, Mr. Suresh Shetty. Guys, give me a quick confirmation that you all can see me, that you all can hear me, so that I can go ahead and start the event for you. This is Nitin Soni, and I welcome everyone to this online book launch come discussion event with none other than the author of the book, The Power of 9 Rules to Accelerate Growth. Give me a confirmation in the chat box by typing yes if you guys can see me, if you guys can hear me. Type in yes in the chat box. I can already see a lot of people joining in. So Umesh, Ajit, and I see other people joining in as well. Just give me a quick confirmation by typing yes in the chat box. Alrighty then. Super. Thank you very much, Raghavan and Tanvi and Sanidhya Shetty for giving me the confirmation. Sham is there as well. All right, friends, a very warm good evening to you. I'm excited, and I'm sure you're excited as well. So Padma, Sanjeev, Sushant, thank you very much for joining in. And I'm sure you guys are looking forward to this discussion that I'm going to have with none other than the author of this book that I have in my hand today. All right, so without much ado, I'm going to invite the author. But before I do that, I want to quickly give you a small, quick introduction of the man who we have as a special guest for this evening. Now, his name is Mr. Suresh Shetty. He's the founder director at Scenarios Management Services firm. He has over 15 years, now more than a decade's experience in HR leadership roles. So the man that we have today with us is a seasoned veteran. He has worked with businesses. He has helped a lot of business leaders and whatnot, right? And he's a visiting faculty to a lot of business schools. And I think you and me are fortunate enough that we are in the company of a man like him today, this evening. So with this, I want to give and welcome none other than Mr. Suresh Shetty in the program. Mr. Suresh, you're there. Please join us. Me and the audience is waiting for you. Mr. Suresh. Sir, please, I think your audience is, your speaker is on mute, sir. If you can hear me, just to check your speaker once.
Yes, am I audible now?
You are audible now, sir.
Well, good evening, Nitin, and good evening to all the viewers. I'm thankful to them for their valuable time being Sunday. Thank you very much, audience. Thank you.
Sir, we are fortunate enough that you took time out, and I can see a lot of books in the background already. You are a man of having a lot of knowledge and insights on the subject that we will be discussing today. So a lot of people already have joined us. Approximately close to 50 people are watching this right now live when you and me are in this program. Mr. Suresh, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Nitin.
Okay, great. So let's do one thing. How about, you telling us a little bit more about you, your experience, where did you start and where you are and your entire journey of this career that has, stretched across decades. Tell us something about you, sir.
Yes. It takes me back to 80s when I started my career in 1981. Before that, though officially I was 20 years old then, but my first job when I was hardly 17 plus, after having done my 12th standard exam, when children were enjoying their vacations and I was looking forward to stand something on my own, my first job was to become a door-to-door salesman. Okay. And this was something like telephone disinfection. So I used to go to various industrial estates, and then I used to provide a demonstration of the old time, the circle dialed black color telephones. And then that was my first earning. At the age of 20, I joined BST. It was my father's dream that my father was a bus conductor in BST. Oh. And it was his dream that, I should join BST. So I had two objectives when I joined BST. One, to fulfill my father's dream. And second, to see that I stand alone. At the same time, earn while learn while earn. That was my motto. And I have completed my, graduation, my double post-graduation while working with the BST. And then I joined HR fraternity, where I spent enough time, around 35 years in the corporate world. And wow. For last 5 years, I'm, on my own as a business coach, serving most of the clients coming from small and medium industries. This is how the journey is all about.
Fantastic. I'm so excited already that you have over 35 years of experience and you have, as you rightly mentioned, helping businesses. We have a lot of business people today joining us, and they want to take a lot of advice. They want to grab onto your wisdom that you have acquired over the years, and including myself. I'm going to be making notes out of the ideas that we're going to be sharing with us today. Sir, I want to first of all congratulate you for penning down this book. The title of the book, friends, just want to tell every single one of you who's attending this event right now, Mr. Suresh is not just a seasoned veteran with over 35 years of experience. This man is an author as well now. So this is his book, and the title of the book is The Power of 9 Rules to Accelerate Growth. Now, that's a fabulous book that he has written, and I was fortunate enough to work with him to bring this book into existence. Mr. Suresh, let's talk a little bit about this book. This title especially, this was pretty intriguing. I mean, I could see that you've written a book for business leaders and you have given a blueprint. But one question that I have in my mind right now is, why accelerate growth?
Yeah. Okay.
Tell us something about it.
Sure. Well, I would first elaborate about the title and subtitle. Yeah. Okay. I would say this is a combination of the business strategy and law of attraction.
Okay.
Business strategy in terms of the power of 9 rules to accelerate growth. Essentially, it is the business strategy where any business leader is supposed to apply his business strategy in his business. Right. However, unless he supports the law of attraction, his business strategy is not likely to be successful. So therefore, the subtitle blueprint for the business leaders to ask and receive essentially emerge from the law of attraction. So this is the combination of business strategy and law of attraction. And the entire book, if you see, has been presented with a context as to how any business leader who wanted to become successful should apply business strategy, but at the same time should also develop the mindset, which is being called as a growth mindset, to apply his law of attraction principles or philosophies. So this is all about the title.
This is interesting. This is interesting. So I had been thinking, and I had this belief till date that when we talk about law of attraction, we generally talk about attracting, not just specifically in business, I would say. We operate from our left brain and we say we want to strategize, we want to take decisions and whatnot. This law of attraction thing, it takes the back seat when we talk about our business. I'm telling you from the discussions that I have with my business friends, and I'm talking about myself. But what you're saying right now is that law of attraction is equally important for businesses and business leaders. Is that what you're saying, sir?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I would add one more thing. The question as to why I should be competent enough to write the book. That's the first question. Rather, any reader would like to ask me, because someone having spent say 35 years in the corporate and 5 years into the consulting, so total 40 years experience, need not be qualified to write a book. So I would like to present, if if you allow me, if you grant permission, I would like to present my small case as to why I am competent to write book on such a complex subject of business strategy as well as law of attraction.
We are all ears, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, sure. Having spent 40 years, what I got excellent opportunity to work with high profile, CEOs. I got opportunity to work with the manufacturing organizations where most of the organizations have undergone, the organizational transformation programs. I was a part of it. Okay. And between 2000 2003, for 3 years, I was working closely with Professor Washo, a Japanese consultant, who was invited by then employer Mahindra Group. And I was fortunate enough to work with him for almost 3 years. And that gave me a lot of insights about how business operates, what are the business challenges. At the same time, when I started my consulting, I also got, opportunity to work with small and medium, scale enterprises where they have a lot of excellence in terms of their own, business proposition. However, they were lacking resources. They were lacking something like a, subject matter expert who can guide them. And that has really inspired me to write book, something like this. At the same time, there was a frequent appeal from my clients also. Why not I put down my experience in the form of book, which will be eventually helpful for the, my clients and those readers. So that was the whole idea. Coming back to your query about acceleration of growth. I strongly believe that 2 types of organizations in the world. Number one, those who are making the profit. And the second one, those who are formed for the social cause, like NGOs. When any organization being formed for the purpose of, profit making, the organization must get the business growth because they are accountable to the stakeholders, they are accountable to the shareholders, they are accountable to the customers, and last but not least, they are accountable to their employees. So any organization, unless they grow, they will not be able to reinvest, they will not be able to grow their business, and eventually the prospects of the employees will not happen. The customers will not get, the best products, new products, and so on. So therefore, acceleration growth should be the primary objective of any businessman, whether he is from the large corporate, whether he is from the small setup. And that is the whole idea why acceleration of growth. And therefore, the power of 9 rules. 9 rules is all about the total 12 chapters, of which 9 chapters belongs to 9 rules. So it is like a mantra. And every step, every chapter, every link is integrated. So no one can miss out any link or any chapter. It has to be followed in the same sequence. Let me tell you very frankly, this was presented in the story form. This is the story of a startup business leader who came from the corporate background, and he started his own business. Within the next 6 months, along with his 2 partners, he has incurred huge losses. Then he hired the business coach. The business coach was expert not only in the business strategy, but he was also equally expert in law of attraction. And then he brought out the best combination, and within the next 3 years, that organization became profitable. And therefore, I have done a lot of extensive research as to how small startups, operates, what is the data, which eventually I'll present as we move forward.
And I'm already excited. Friends. You can see that Mr. Suresh is bringing in years of experience and insights of the time that he has spent with a lot of businesses. Mr. Suresh, the question that I have in my mind right now is, and I want to really jump onto this, when you said that you have worked with a lot of businesses and you have done a lot of research, you must have seen reasons why a lot of startups fail, a lot of businesses fail. So I'm really keen to know, what are the reasons as per your observations are the reasons that eventually result in an organization or a business or a startup leading to their failure? Can we talk about that, please?
As for me, any business leader who wants to start their business, whatever the volume, small or big one, everybody wants to become a successful. That's the whole idea. But at the same time, what we see that most of the business leaders, in spite of not having, the professional background, management school background, still they become successful. At the same time, there are certain business leaders, they, they struggle like anything. The whole idea is about, at the end of the day, is all about the mindset. The mindset makes all the difference. And unfortunately, this is the most neglected area. And therefore, I always say that unless a business leader becomes strong in law of attraction, he will not be able to deliver the best results. The mindset matters. At the same time, most of the business leaders, if they want to become successful, they should have a clear-cut strategy in plan. Now, what is the strategy we're talking about? It's not about a business strategy. It is all about how to take everyone along with the journey. When we talk about a navigation map, everybody should be a part of that navigation map. And that is possible only when you start working on the mindset. So the responsibility, accountability, and ownership rests with the business leaders to drive his business. He has to take his people into confidence. He has to take the entire stakeholders into confidence. And that is possible. It is a process. Law of attraction application is a process. And therefore, there are different models available. I have also added few models in my book, which eventually I will discuss about those ideas. But the fact remains, yes. There are people who are successful. They are driven by certain, invisible traits. What traits they carry makes all the difference. And my book covers most of the traits or in a most practical manner, which is easy to apply for any business leaders, those who are looking forward or those who are struggling.
A lot of people, right? So a lot of people who are attending this event right now are here as a result of the email that I wrote out to them, in which I'd mentioned that the reason why, when we talk about communication, majority, over 50% of communication that we do is non-verbal, like, so right, the expression, the hands, and what goes behind all of this. And I think you have rightly mentioned in the book that same is true for businesses. So what you see is not just enough. I think what goes behind it, the mindset and what the mind with which the business leaders are operating makes a lot of sense. So I want to tell everybody who's attending this program right now, guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask the guest here, Mr. Suresh, In case you have any questions, please do not hesitate to put those questions in the chat box. I'll become your voice. I'll take your questions and I'll ask the questions to the man himself. Now, coming on to the next point that I have in mind, Mr. Suresh, is that you talked about law of attraction for business leaders. And when I was going through your book, there was a very interesting mention that you made to the book Psycho-Cybernetics.
Yeah.
And that was pretty interesting for me to note, because I read the book and this has been a phenomenal book. Now I really want to hear it from you. Why did you bring in Psycho-Cybernetics in a business book?
Yeah. Normally, when I decided to write a book, what I was, under impression that whatever happening in the business process, okay, is one thing. But at the same time, what are the best practices? What are the best research which is already being carried out in the world? Can there be any scope to apply those researches? So that was my fundamental assumptions when I studied this book, Psycho-Cybernetics. What I observed that the gentleman is a plastic surgeon. Of course, he is no more. When he has operated on so many patients, he found there are two types of patients. Patient number one, the one who is very happy, very delighted, with the new arrival of his, face and so on. The second category of patient was, something like worried, they were not confident and so on. So finally, it was found out it all goes into the self-image of an individual. The patient who had a negative self-image about self, they did not find any utility of the plastic surgery, and they continued to remain in a negative mode. Whereas those patients who were positive in their self-image, they were enjoying and they were happy. And when I apply this self-image concept in the business process, I found the business leaders who have a positive self-image are become successful. At the same time, the business leaders who have a negative self-image, they always found themselves in a struggling matter. That's how the difference is, and therefore this book makes too much of a reference. And therefore, the takeaway from this book for the business leaders is that have a positive self-image about self. When you think positive about self, you'll be able to think positively about your customers and all your stakeholders, and then that will happen. This is one of the essential requirements of law of attraction, that you must have a positivity in your mind, you must have a growth prospects in your mind, you must have a winning mindset, and then only you'll be able to move ahead and you'll be able to capture all the the hurdles, and you can overcome those hurdles. This is how the application of this particular book is.
Certainly makes sense. I mean, certainly makes sense to me. Absolutely, no doubt about that. And now, the next question that I have in my mind when you talk about Psycho-Cybernetics there is, the vision. I understand that you have addressed business leaders in the book, and I can see that out of your research that it's the business leaders who drive the business. It's their energy, it's their vision that drives the business. And you rightly mentioned in the book about a business leader's vision when you said that a business leader's vision is about seeing 1,000 trees in one seed. Now that was a point that I saw. So I would really like you to throw some more light on this piece.
Yes. Any business leaders, unless he set the vision, unless he create his vision, and unless he live his values, he won't be successful. And this strategic thought process will only happen when he has a foresight. Now, most of the business leaders who struggle, they lack some foresight. Okay, they don't see beyond what is present and what is absent. Now, coming back to this particular story, which I presented about the apple tree, that like two partners, they are sitting and together discussing, we are doing our best, nothing is happening. So one partner shows his frustration. The mature partner says, he opened he cut the apple and he showed the seed. He said, "Can you see this?" Yes, I could see the seed. But the fact is that the earlier partner, okay, he was unable to see beyond the seed. So the senior partner tells him that, see, this one seed has got enough capability to create thousands of apples in simple one tree, if it is being done properly. And that's the ability, that opens the eyes of the first partner, and he start visualizing, he start doing the affirmations, and then things put up in the right way and right manner. That's the the takeaway of this particular story. Any business leader, if he is willing to set up his business, if he wants to grow his business, what he should do, he should see how the things are going to change 5 years from now onwards, how the things of the customers from test point of view, expectation point are going to change, how the competition is going to change. And all those visualizations should be kept in mind, should be borne in mind. And then you will have a better strategy, you will have a better solutions, you will have a better business planning. That's the whole idea about this particular story of Apple Seeds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Interesting. Mr. Suresh, I want to quickly take a question here from Mr. Gagan. But before I do that, first of all, guys, everybody who is being a part of this event right now, you have all the right to ask questions out of the discussion that we are having today. And in case you are wondering what this discussion is all about, this is about business, this is about business leaders, this is about you and your businesses, and this is about the book that Mr. Suresh has written. The title of the book, The Power of 9 Rules to Accelerate Growth. Now, what I'm going to do is, there are a lot of people who might be interested in getting their hands on the book. So guys, what I've just done is I have put the Amazon link of the book in the chat box. In case you are interested, you can just click on the link, jump onto Amazon, make a purchase, and being a part of this exciting online launch that we are having right now. And now, Mr. Suresh, I want to quickly take this question of one of our participants, Mr. Gagan Gupta. Mr. Gagan is saying that he has read your book. First of all, congratulations to you and Mr. Gagan. He's read your book and he said, I found it amazing. He said the guidelines and the business plan strategies are absolutely incredible. But he says that he would really like to request you to elaborate a little bit on where possibly can a business leader lose his direction. So he wants to know when a business leader can possibly lose a direction and how he can realign himself to the vision. If you may want to comment on that, please.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Gagan, for your query. I'd like to address this. For any business leader to become successful, I would put it, 5 elements of success. Number 1, a business leader must have 100% hunger to grow his, business. 100% hunger. The second is the business leader must have 100% clarity. Third, the person must have the 100% focus. Number 4, a business leader must have the action, ability to take action. And last but not least, discipline. Now, I would say that most of the business leaders, they get lost in the transit, they lose the focus. Prima facie, they lack that hunger. Because the starting point is hunger. If you have hunger less than 100%, then there's a possibility that, you are likely to, get away from your focus area. So have 100% hunger, have 100% clarity, have 100% action, focus, action, and finally have a discipline. And for this matter, you have to go to any extent. Let me tell you one example. We talk about 5 AM club. Myself, I'm a 5 AM club member. Okay. For me, it is a 24/7, 365 days, whether it is, holiday, Sunday, whether I'm at Shirdi or any other place, I will always get up at 5 o'clock. That is a part of my 5 process because I have 100% hunger, I have 100% clarity, I have 100% focus, action, and discipline. So I think this is how you can try out and put these 5 elements, in reality, in practice from day-to-day basis, and I'm sure you will be able to, get your total focus and concentration on your, on your business. The last but not least, the ability to say no. Most of the business leaders I have seen, they lack the ability to say no, and they, end up saying yes to everyone, and finally they are not in the position to, focus on their, important and urgent activities which are being planned for the day. I hope I have addressed the query of Mr. Gagan.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Suresh, you also, if I'm not mistaken, you have also talked about a concept that says employee first and customer later. Now, yeah. that was something for me because I think we all have been, as business leaders and business owners, have been believing that it has to be the customer first. And here you are coming with a mindset and with the research that backs it up, saying you've got to take your employees first and customer second. Please tell us something more about this, please.
As you rightly said, Nitin, we are born and brought up with the clear understanding and the thought process that customer is a king. Customer is, everybody. Okay. But at the same time, without devaluing customers, without underestimating customers, what the new process of employee first, customer second talks about the changing transition of the employees. The thing is that when your employee will be happy, when your customer will be happy, when your customer will have a delight, only and only when your employees are happy. Ultimately, the question is who serves customer. It is the employee who serves customer. It's not about only customer sale or customer care department or customer relationship department. For me, like we always say, that who is responsible for the quality in the organization. Then people used to say, no, it's a quality manager who is responsible. No, now today's scenario, everybody is a quality manager and he is responsible for improvement of quality. On the same line, everybody is responsible to support the customer relations and customer support and to create a customer delight. However, that is possible only when your employees are happy. Now, what the proposition says, very clearly that up till now, management used to think that employees are accountable to the management, top management. But now the course has been reversed. Now even management is also accountable to the employees, and that is how now accountability in terms of what? Accountability in terms of providing reasonable resources to the employees to perform their role, to provide the proper encouraging enterprising environment that will create a motivation within the employees. At the same time, be transparent, follow the best practices, fair practices, have dignity of the employees in place, respect the employees, their dignity, and they also have their own personal commitment. So balance, work-life balance and so on. All these comes under, employee first. And if your employees are engaged, higher the level of engagement, higher the level of customer satisfaction, and vice versa. Any employee who is not engaged, I don't think he'll be able to create customer engagement. That is for sure. So therefore, we are talking about employee first. Take care of your employees, and if you develop employees, those employees will build a business.
Absolutely,
that's the proposition.
Now that brings a smile on my face because my teammates must be watching this program right now and must be evaluating if we are doing it right or not. Now, every single person, any business owner watching this right now, I'm sure Mr. Suresh must have given you a new perspective today. So I want every single one of you to type yes in the chat box, or if you found this concept amazing, type amazing, super, thanks in the chat box and bring in some engagement so that we know that the point is getting across to you. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Suresh, for sharing this idea with us. And just in case you are wondering, you can find all of this in his book, which is available for your purchase. It's live on Amazon now. The link is there in the chat box. Click on the link, get onto Amazon, buy a book, and be a part of this entire fantastic story, right? There you go. So a lot of people already saying thank you very much. So Mr. Suresh, just to see the comment there, Mr. Raghavan, Mr. Malai Dev, Sanidhya Shetty, Shilpa, and Shahid, everybody joining us and congratulating you, and thank you for this amazing insight. And here is another thing that I want to add to it, right? So the moment you say that you got to make your team a part of this, I have another question for you. Sometimes some of these team members, for one reason or another, they feel demotivated. So I want to know from you, how can we make our team motivated enough and keep them aligned to this vision that the owner or the leader or the business has? How to keep the team motivated to achieve the vision and the goal of the company, sir?
For me, the business growth is the summation of A plus B plus C. What A stands for is the engaged employee.
Wow.
B stands for engaged business leaders.
Yeah.
And C stands for the engaged organization, business organization. So this is how the business growth happens. Now, coming back to the motivation, let me tell you very frankly, now in this world, if I make a statement that I cannot motivate anybody, that's a valid statement. The fact remains, the motivation is, there are two types of motivation. One is intrinsic motivation and the extrinsic motivation.
Absolutely.
What the business leaders are expected to create an environment, inspiring environment that will promote the fun and joy at the workplace. This is one requirement. The second requirement, whatever the tasks, take the case of, say, joining of new employees or onboarding. make it funful, make it joyful. Where, provide them buddies and so on. It will help them to, enjoy the journey, joining a new organization, unknown people, unknown work culture. At the same time, you have to focus on creating what is called self-managed team. Now, self-managed team, or you can say high-performing team.
True.
Different terminologies are used, but ultimately, it so happens that whenever business leader is away from the work, whether he is on vacation, whether he is on business tour, he need not worry, because in his absence, the team is taking care of, independently, without he is getting disturbed from his routine or the vacation and so on. So how to do this? It is very essential that first you have to ensure that each and every team member must be a part of the daily affirmations. Now, this is a big disconnect. How the disconnect happens. On one hand, business leader has set his vision in terms of, the business profitability and so on. At the same time, if the vision is not shared with the team members, okay, there is no shared vision. You have to have shared vision. You have to have, shared mission, and you have to have shared values. When you, as a business leader, when you take your employees into the confidence, it also helps him to understand what is the expectation, because most of the business leaders, they are not transparent. They are not, sharing what they want to achieve in terms of their vision. And definitely the communication gap creates, a big unprecedented situation. So this is very important. At the same time, be transparent, with the team, leave the values, have a fair business practices, okay, have, the celebration process, find out small successes in the organization for the team and celebrate, enjoy, and follow the rule of giving feedback very clearly. When you want to give feedback, it is a critical feedback. Please call the employee or team member in your cabin and give them, feedback in person. But when you want to appreciate, call everybody and, ask them to join, to applaud them, people will feel happy about it. And believe me, and of course, last but not least, invest on the training. See that people get learning opportunity, people get, the scope to develop their capability, competence, and ultimately the commitment and competence, when it comes together, the excellence happens in the performance. That is for sure. So you have to ensure that there has to be a commitment from the team, and there has to be, capability and competence. And then this will drive the business, because you are investing in your people, and the same people will help you to build your business.
Absolutely. No doubt about that, sir. And thank you so much for bringing in that insight. Now, Megha has a comment there. The comment says he has been a great guide to the great businessmen of the time. Now, that's a comment for you. That's a compliment for you.
Thank you, Megha. Thank you.
And Saurabh Nagwekar says, business working without the actual presence of the business owner. Now, Mr. Suresh, is that really possible? I mean, that sounds really exciting. But are we saying that if we have a team that is aligned to the vision, if we have a team that is motivated, can we actually take the business owner out of the equation and run the business on an autopilot mode? Is that possible?
Absolutely. See, I'll tell you the concept called Aura. Aura, if you, implement Aura in your organization, it will work like anything. What is Aura stands for? O stands for ownership, R stands for responsibility, and A stands for accountability. When we talk about, managing people, okay, that is a most critical skill. And if, business leaders learn this skill, how to manage the people, by ensuring that there is a transparency, by ensuring that each and every employee is fully aware about the job that he is supposed to perform. At the same time, the accountability, responsibility, and the proper goal setting being done, the same team will deliver the best of the results. And therefore, if you work on the basis of the system, okay, that system will drive the people. Even in that case, even businessman is away from the work or the office, believe me, the same work can go on, with more efficiency. That is for sure. And this is how it works. There are organizations, we have certain plan. As a part of my business coaching, I guide my clients how you can focus on the system. So it's a system-driven approach and not a person-specific approach. Unfortunately, most of the small-time businessmen, they need to understand this importance, because what happens, they depend on the people, and moment people leaves the organization, they are in soup. Whereas you have to create a situation that nobody is indispensable in the organization. During my corporate career of 35 years, I was very clear that as a head HR, I found that nobody is indispensable, including the CEOs of the companies. Even CEO goes, okay, another comes, and the show goes on. That's how the thing works.
True. Absolutely. I hope, Mrs. Saurabh, thank you very much for bringing it in the chat box. Guys, that is what I call as an engaged participation. That's like participating in the conversation. Mrs. Suresh, you have really given me a lot of things to make notes on. And I'm really, I'm really hoping that every single person who is being a part of this amazing online book launch come discussion with the author himself, Mr. Suresh Shetty, is taking notes while he's speaking. Now, we have a man who has transformed businesses over more than 1 decade. And if we are fortunate enough to have him in our company today, I would really encourage every single one of you to take notes. Mr. Suresh, thank you very much for bringing in those insights. And now, moving ahead, when you talk about, I want to talk more about team, because see, when I was reading your book, I also came across this concept called affirmation. Now, I'm sure most of us are aware what affirmations are and how they are important for your personal life. But you said affirmations for the business, for the team, and for everybody. So are you actually advocating and suggesting that not just the business owner, but the team and the managers and all the employees get into this affirmation thing? Is that what you're suggesting, sir?
Yes. As I said earlier, about the law of attraction. Okay. Yeah. Affirmations and visualization are the backbone of law of attraction. And, it is very clear, likes attracts likes. That's the whole theory of law of attraction. Okay. And it was being proven. I'm a practitioner of law of attraction. Okay. As a part of my business coaching, I do provide, coaching on law of attraction as a part of the, the business process for my clients. So, and I have my own success story for last, few years. I'm practicing law of attraction. Okay. What is important that if you don't have affirmations, okay, what is affirmation? Affirmation is a statement. It is a self-pledge. It is a self-assurance that you give it to yourself, and you see what is being, there in the future. You are pushing yourself down the line, maybe 5 years, 10 years, where you visualize yourself what you are, not you will be, what you are. And when you do affirmation on a day-to-day basis, the silent message goes to your subconscious mind. And without your knowledge, subconscious mind take that signal, and it ensures that you act as per the direction of the subconscious mind. That's the power of affirmations. I practice affirmations right in the morning when I get up in the morning. And, like one best example I should say about my book itself. When I've written this book, okay, during the pandemic, I use law of attraction as a philosophy, as a technique, and I got, 100% success. I set a target that I will write this book in 60 days. Okay. Before 60 days, I said that let me spend some time on planning, let me spend some time on research, and I could manage to get this book released accordingly. So this is how the success story is about affirmation. Okay, but affirmation essentially not only on the part of business leader. It has to start from business leader. It has to be cascaded to down the line to every team member, and then everybody becomes a part of it. Is a movement across the organization. And when organization is involved in this kind of movement, now it becomes a grand success because everybody talks the same language. There's no gap between business leaders is saying something and the team members are thinking something else.
Interesting. Mr. Suresh, here is a question that has come up in the chat box by Dev Doot. And what I hope is a man, Mr. Dev Doot wants to know, how do we synergize the affirmation of the businessman? So what he's saying is, so my vision as a businessman may be different. I mean, when I say not the vision, I would say interest and what drives them. So he's saying that the affirmations of a businessman and the affirmations of the employees, since their interests and their drivers may not be same, how do we synergize? How do we bring in this synergy between their affirmations so that they are aligned to the common goal? Do you want to just take that for a quick moment, please?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for this question. I would like to address this. Last month only, at one of my clients' place, I had conducted the training program. How to get customer in a delight mode. That was a training program which I have conducted.
Wow.
And believe me, during the training program itself, I have created affirmations in English and Hindi because there was a specific requirement of the client. And that was being accepted by the business leaders, and it was being circulated, and now it was being put up on the workstation of each and every employee. And that is all about the customer delight, where the affirmation was being given in a written form, nicely, created in Canva package, and it was given to each of them. And now they are practicing. Now the question is, when there's an alignment in terms of affirmation between the business leaders and the entire team, I'm sure it's a matter of time where the company will ensure that there's a customer delight in that organization.
Sir, do you mind sharing a bit on such affirmations to me and to this entire community of business leaders and owners who are keen to take those key takeaways? So I'm sure they have this question in their mind. I have this question in my mind. What was it? Or if you could just talk something about it, something related to what sort of affirmations could these people use? Some sentences, some statements you want to suggest?
Yeah, there are many. There are many, depending upon the occasions. Okay.
And maybe one like the one that you said, how to delight the customers, something around that.
Yeah. One I would like to share, which I'm practicing myself. Okay. My affirmations, which I practice, in the morning, which is a part of my, personal vision. Okay. So my affirmation is as follows. I'm here to serve 1 lakh business leaders who are struggling and to grow their business life, to grow their, business growth. So this is the affirmation which I am, working on, and I have a clear-cut purpose. I want to help my business community. I want to help my clients, and I'm very clear that, whatever the value that I get in terms of my fees, I'm looking forward that how can I give multiple value to them so that, they will understand the value. And that's how it meets my expectation of creating a value proposition for my client.
Excellent there. Thank you very much, Mr. Suresh. Now, just to take some of the comments in the chat box, Ashim says affirmation really, it's a big part and it's a big takeaway of the book. And Subhash Sihag is saying, Suresh Shetty ji, nice information. He's thanking you. He's thanking you for it. Raghavan says, visualize the DNA of successful business leaders. That's interesting. Now, coming on to business leaders, Mr. Suresh, who are these leaders who have really inspired you? I'm sure you must have had few role models in your life. Could you just tell us who has really inspired you in your life and in your business?
I mean, there are many, but to summarize, I would say, there are 2 organizations I was a part of. One was Tata Group, and the second was Mahindra Group. Mm-hmm. So the Tata Group, Mr. Ratan Tata and Mr. Anand Mahindra, these are the 2 business leaders, okay, whom I was very much impressed. The reason being, in terms of the values that they were living, in terms of the best fair practices that they are following, okay, and giving best to the client. These are the 3, the propositions. Coming back to the overseas leaders, obviously it is Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs. These are the 2 individuals, for their innovations, creating, the wonderful productive workplace and so on. These are the, my ideal leaders across the globe.
And are there any startups in India that because it's a startup decade, I would say. So when you look at these startups that are coming up in India, are there any startups that you want to just mention, say, these startups are doing really well, and I'm observing them? You want to say something about those startups?
Yeah, if I say, yes, there are 23 startups I had mentioned in my book, these successful startups. But if I look at, something which catches my attention, one is Flipkart. The Flipkart is the organization which started with the, small investment of 50,000 rupees. And over the years, they went on to become a, billion-made company. The second is Oyo. The gentleman, 24 years old, he has come out with the innovative practice, and he has changed the entire, the shape of the hotel industry.
True.
Okay. And ticket.com.
Book My Show,
Book My Show. Book My Show. This is very, very, innovative plan. When you are sitting at home, you are sitting at home, and you are simply booking the tickets, and then as you want. So these are the 3 startups which catches my mind.
I think, and all these startups have really changed the way we live our life today, isn't it? I mean, who stands in the queue today? They book the tickets and they go straight and sit and they enjoy the movie, right? So Book My Show and Oyo, as you rightly said, and Flipkart, absolutely, no doubt about that. Mrs. Suresh, the research that you have done, the kind of leaders that you have worked with, the kind of leaders that you have observed in your life, I can see that all of this experience, I can see this reflection in the book. Guys, on behalf of this entire community of people who have joined us today in this program, I want to just give a quick reference to the concepts that you have talked about in the book, which are ABAR and TFAR models that you have talked about in the book. Now, that was interesting. Now, somebody hearing them for the first time, what is ABAR? What is TFAR? Mr. Suresh, can we just uncomplicate it a little bit and talk a little bit about that, please?
As we talk about law of attraction, okay, as I said very clearly that there are certain models available in the world, and this ABAR model, ABAR, is a model which is a part of my trademark. Okay, I have created so many business models, which is a part of my IP. Okay.
Now I want to pause you for a second here and highlight this fact, guys. There are very few people in India who have created business models, and they have a trademark on it. Now, that's what I'm telling you right now. You are in the company of a man who has not just transformed businesses, but whatever concept that he has applied, he has a trademark on them. And when somebody would have a trademark, you can imagine what sort of experience the person must have put behind that. Mr. Suresh, please go ahead.
The first one is, the model which we are talking about is TFAR. TFAR. Okay, T stands for thoughts. Okay, F stands for feelings, A stands for action, and R stands for results. Now, this model this is not my model. Okay, this is already available, in the world. However, the limitation of this model is very clearly, the limitation of the model is, number one, that it doesn't speaks about how you would like to achieve results. It is only all about TFAR. Okay, and therefore it is very essential when you try to implement TFAR, you're getting clueless. You're not in the position to get the results. So I have come out with the ABAR model. ABAR model is nothing but it is a composition, it is an integration of 9 chapters of this book. Okay, and it is being followed right from chapter 1 to chapter 9. Total 9 chapters are there, and then there are 3 more chapters. Okay, ABAR model is more extensive. When we talk about TFAR, it is more of a what. It addresses what, but what is not sufficient. You need why. Okay, you need why. You get what and you get why in ABAR model, and that's the beauty of this ABAR model. All those 9 chapters are integrated and they are connected. They are connected, and therefore it is very essential that we must have the integration process, and therefore ABAR is more extensively used. It is widely described, and that gives a success factor, because ABAR is a combination of not only business strategy, but it is also a part of law of attraction, whereas TFAR is more of a law of attraction. We want a combination where business leader can apply business strategy in support of and with the composition of law of attraction, and that will give him the desired, what is called R stands for receive. The difference between first R is result and ABAR R stands for receive. So it goes without saying that whatever you want to ask, you can ask the universe. Universe is ready to give you, as long as you are ready to travel between A to R. And what is the travel? These are the 9 chapters you have to understand, you have to apply, and therefore those next 3 chapters will eventually, as we discussed, will describe on that.
Well, fantastic. Now, guys, here is your opportunity. Now, once again, Mr. Devdutt wants you to give them the full form of ABAR. If you could just say that again, Mr. Suresh, full form of ABAR.
Yeah. A stands for us. ASK, us. B stands for belief. Whatever you're asking, you must have a belief. Okay. And A stands for act. ACT, act. You have to take action. And then you have to receive.
Absolutely.
What you have asked for, you have to receive. The whole universe is available to give you whatever you have asked for. Only thing, you should ask for it. You should have a belief. You should act on it. At the same time, you should also receive. And that's the lab where you are celebrations of your success.
And guys, when he said that, I just want to bring your attention to the subtitle of the book that says Blueprint for Business Leaders to Ask and Receive. And that's what he has elaborated in complete detail in the book. So guys, here is my suggestion to you. If you want to jump into, if you want to deep dive into this, if you want to deep dive into all of these concepts, here is your opportunity to jump on to this incredible opportunity of getting this book when we are live with the author himself. So the link is in the description. I'll just put the link in the chat box once again. I would highly encourage every business person, every business owner, and everybody who is thinking of starting a business to jump onto this book, spend some time and get the crux of the decade-old experience of the man who is there on your screen right now. Mr. Suresh, my next question to you, and I'm pretty eager because there are a lot of people who must have been watching this right now and will watch it later on YouTube. Maybe are the people who are not into business as of now, but they want to get into business, right? So people who are not in business right now, but want to get into business. So what would be your suggestion to these people?
Okay, so the question is about you are asking those who are currently into employment and they want to start. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, my first response, is a spontaneous response. Welcome to the world of business community. Okay. Having said that, there are certain, the suggestions I would like to give. Okay, those who are willing. Okay. If you see the world statistics, it shows that only 2% people across the globe are rich people. And 98% people, they belong to either they are employed or they are self-employed. Okay. When somebody is making the transition from employment to self-employment, maybe as a professional or want to start own business with a team and so on, they're most welcome. There's a strategy. There has to be a strategy in place. Number one, when you're looking forward for your new business, make sure you have a proper planning in place. Okay. Number two, ensure that you should have at least your bank balance so much that should take care of your 1 year daily life, necessities. That is very important because I have seen there are people without, giving much of a thought and plan, not having, financial backup and resources. They have to go back to the employment by updating their resume. I mean, that one should really avoid. Okay. Third is, the business that you are talking about, think about which business you are talking about. What is the product that you would like to, what is the service that you would like to, offer? Okay. Make sure you have a proper, business acumen. You have a proper understanding about the business. And very important, you should know the competition that you're talking about a business. What competition exists? What is the market? Who is going to be your customer? Okay. All those things you should have in place. And very important, develop the, people management skill. This is one of the significant aspects, I would say. Okay. And have to have proper, the financial backup in terms of working capital and fixed capital. And because these are the, challenges where, which drives the people, back to the employment. Okay. So it is a good idea. And, there is so much of, advantage when you move from employee to businessman. Okay. You are on your own. You get out of that, job description boundaries. Okay. You have so much potential that you were unable to use in your employment. When you come to your business, you yourself, you become your boss. And then, sky's the limit, which I am enjoying for last over 5 years. After I left, my last role as a head HR, okay, immensely I am, enjoying. And I realized there's so much, in terms of the potential that was not being utilized because of the restriction of my job description. So that's a good decision, and people should really think about positively. But yes, I mean, this book will provide a lot of, initial, the solace to the people as to how to move forward. So that's a fundamental thing. And therefore, I think this book, not only when we talk about the business leaders, okay, this book is equally applicable and relevant to so many different categories. Now, who are those categories? Number one, those who are, looking forward to move from employment to business.
Right.
Number two, those who want to start, their own startup. Number three, those who are, in MSME sector, but still struggling. Okay, for them, this book is useful, especially CEOs of the corporate, CXOs of the corporate, those who are managers, but looking forward for the promotion, because there are a lot of, description about the individual development, individual contributor, how to make yourself promotable. So those books, contents will be useful for all these different categories which I have narrated just now.
Super, super. I'm really glad to know that. I mean, you literally gave us the target audience. I mean, if somebody's thinking of starting a business, the book is for them. Somebody running a business, this book is for them. Somebody already a businessman, he want to take his business to the next step, the book is for them. I have a question for all the participants right now. Guys, how has it been so far? How has it been, the discussion that we have had with the author so far? It's almost over 50 minutes now. We are about to touch 1 hour mark. How has it been so far? Put it in the comment box. Type in yes, super amazing, fantastic, thank you, whatever it is that you want to type, because I want to see your excitement in the chat box. And in case you had some key takeaways from this session that we have had with the author himself. Now, Mrs. Suresh, while they're typing it in the chat box, I want to ask you, out of all the chapters that you have written in the book, which one is your favorite, sir?
I should say that each and every word, each and every, the template or model, whatever I have mentioned, is all part of my passion. It is close to my heart. Okay. But having said that, okay, I would go with chapter number 9.
Okay.
Chapter number 9, that is receive.
Right.
When we talk about receive, see, ultimately the whole idea, whole objective for any business leader is to get the business results. If any business leader is not getting the results, then probably, there's a doubt as to why the business leader is in business. And that's the point of celebration. That is a point of, patting on one's back, and therefore receive is the chapter number 9, which is very close to my heart. And that's how, your journey, take first pause. Okay. And you celebrate. And why you celebrate? Because when you get the results, okay, when you receive from the universe, okay, you are, responsible to give big dividends to your, stakeholders, shareholders. You can give, best quality to your customer. You can go for your business expansion plan. Okay. You can go for acquisition of new businesses, and therefore receive is something which, as a part of the affirmations, every business leader should be looking forward as to when I will receive, how I will receive. And therefore, this book is nothing but a blueprint to start a journey from us and to go up to receive.
Super, super, amazing. Now, Mr. Suresh, just want to tell you, a lot of people have given fantastic feedback and comments in the chat box, starting from, I would cover Raghavan says, great. Malai Dev says, a very good session today. Saurabh says, fantastic. Vishwas says, great, very exciting. Shilpa says, informative and inspiring. Devdoot says, interesting insights. Megha says, superb and the best. Saurabh says, great, very informative. It has been really informative, says Sushant Patil. Chandra says, good. Subhash says, great, exciting. Many, many congratulations to you. Raghavan says, real investment. Sridhar says, great tips. And Samiksha says, really superb. Keep it up, sir. Anthony Joseph says, excellent session, and excellent says Subodh Nagwekar as well. Now look at those comments, Mr. Suresh.
Well, I'm really thankful and grateful to all the audience, and for the encouragement, inspiration, and that's how it creates new journey in your mind. That okay, let's not take a pause here. Go for the second book, which will be useful for entire business community and those who wants to become their new identity, want to get into new identity.
Super.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's my close to my heart. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I thank every single one of you. Mr. Suresh, last few questions to you on the book, around the book. How was it writing the book? How was this entire journey?
Yes, when I really look back, I would say that book writing, okay, and a lot of people, they have admired, they have, had a wish that I should write a book, okay. But I would say that book writing is, I should say it is not a catwalk. That is for sure, okay. Because there are certain, inherent qualities that one must have, and one can develop those qualities with little orientation about the book. Okay. First of all, I'm thankful to Adyan Books. Okay. And the entire team, and starting with Nitin, yourself and your team, excellent support I got, in the entire journey. Okay.
Thank you.
And therefore, it's my humble, submission for, giving this kind of support. Okay. Having said that, I should say that when I decided that I would like to go for book writing, okay, the thought was very much in the mind, okay, and this was a pandemic scenarios where it was the early part of last year, when we talk about somewhere in the month of April and May, okay.
Yeah.
So moment I decided, I said why not look this as an opportunity. Because most of the people were having a lot of challenges, some people have lost their jobs and all, the scenario was not encouraging. And here I said, no, let me look at this opportunity. When there's a crisis, it is your ability to find out the opportunity from the crisis. And exactly what I did, I set my target plan. Okay, I completed my book in 60 days. However, the journey was very tough. I remember I used to invest anything in the range of 12 to 13 hours every day. I used to start writing book at 8 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I used to go beyond, 11:30. The longest time I have invested was 3 a.m. in the morning. And then, I used to have a lot of swellings to the legs, but I was very committed. Okay, I was very committed. But what happens, you try to acquire some skill many years back, which I did when I was, after passing my 12th. I did my, old style typing, typing school. I joined typing, if you see the mechanical typewriter during those days, okay, I completed my, the government examination of 50 words per minute. And that has really helped me because the entire book I have prepared on my laptop, okay, at the speed of almost 50 plus words per minute, okay. And the beauty is that, I don't have to look at the keyboard. I always look at the screen while typing. It becomes a part of the DNA and, natural process. So that has really helped me, in terms of, okay. But yes, the some part, which I have invested not only about writing, but planning. I believe planning is very important. Unless you plan properly, you will not be able to, write your book. And of course, there are a lot of formalities in terms of, getting the, the consent of the references, some authors and all. So I was, kind enough to get this kind of backup from, world-class authors. It was fantastic experience.
I think this is something that you have really mentioned correctly. This ability to write a book fast and this ability to stay committed to your goal is something that makes all the difference, isn't it? It really makes all the difference. And here is my next question to you, sir. My next question is, and by the way, before I ask my next question, guys, every single one of you who has been a part of this event, thank you so very much. You have an option today to take this man who's there on your screen with you to your home, right? You'll be surprised when I say that. How, Nitin? How can I take Mr. Suresh to my home? Right? You can, of course, you can take all his learnings, his wisdom, his experiences, his knowledge, and he himself in the form of his book. The title of the book being The Power of 9 Rules to Accelerate Growth. Now, if you are a business owner or if you're planning to start a business or if you're running a business, highly recommended book. And I do suggest that you jump on, get this book and read it and implement the suggestion. Mr. Suresh, how has it been the initial response of the book from your initial readers?
I would say, I'm grateful and thankful to as many as not 1, 2, but 17, personalities. Wow. 17 great personalities. Now, who are these? They are the subject matters, from their field. They came from different part of world. Let me tell you everything. Not only some of them are from India, but some of them are, those who have given the, testimonial to me. And those testimonials are very much a part of the book. Somebody came from Canada, somebody came from England, somebody came from, Middle East. And I'm thankful to them for having, shown their faith in me and my ability of writing this book. One and 17, these are the 16 people, okay, those who have contributed to my book in the form of testimonials, okay. And there's a 17 one, none other than Dr. Adil Malia. Dr. Adil Malia, he is a erstwhile, global HR professional. He has got his own consulting firm, and he was kind enough to, write a foreword for this book.
Wow.
With a short notice. So
wow.
I'm thankful to, all those testimonials, the experts, as well as Dr. Adil Malia.
Super, fantastic. And congratulations to you for that.
Up till now, let me tell you, up till now, I have received 25 5-star ratings for the book.
Wow, that's excellent.
Which comes to 96% of the total ratings.
Super. And I'm sure you're going to get more star ratings after this event when people will read the book. Guys, just for your information, the book is available in both paperback as well as ebook format. So if you want to read the book in your devices, you can order the ebook on Amazon. If you want to read the physical book, that is something that I recommend, because you can take notes and you can keep it with you. And there's a unique feeling to reading a physical book. I highly recommend that you do that. Mr. Suresh, one last question to you towards the end. A lot of people maybe right now contemplating or becoming business consultants just like you. So any suggestions for them?
Yes, it's a welcome decision if at all anybody is looking forward to become a business consultant. But I have few suggestions, okay, because I'm the one who has followed those suggestions, and then I found it very successful, okay, in terms of receiving the respect from the client and customer. Okay, number one, when anybody wants to become a business consultant, okay, the one should do the self-assessment, self-evaluation in terms of it's like a self-test, okay, it's a self-approval, because occupying the chair as a consultant, okay, there is a possibility that when you are sitting in front of your client, a client may ask you any question, and then you don't have option that let me Google it, let me read the book, okay. It should be very much in your mind, and you should be in a position to, okay. So that capability is very important. Second is the commitment. When I'm saying commitment, I can focus on the commitment, saying that my commitment should always be higher than my client's commitment. That's the proposition, and any client would like to have consultant who is having a high commitment. Third, very important quality, that have fair business practices, have transparency with your client. At the same time, follow certain ethical practices, values, because when we are talking about dealing with our clients, the client need not be from India, it could be overseas countries, okay. And very important, whatever you are offering, your products or your services, make sure it should have a world-class quality. That is very much essential. If you want to become a service provider, you must have a world-class quality standards, and that is how you'll be able to create a value proposition, and then the sky is the limit where you become unstoppable. Okay.
Absolutely.
But last but not least, I would like to say that when you want to become business consultant, make sure you decide your niche.
True.
Unless you decide your niche, I'm like a generalist and all, I mean, there's no scope for such people. You have to have your niche, and you have to have your specialization, and definitely 3 qualities very important, which I personally follow. Number 1, you have to have experience. Number 2, you have to have expertise, and number 3, you have to have excitement. If you have 3 E's, you will become a successful business consultant.
How good is that? How good is that? I mean, absolutely incredible. Guys, how has it been? How has it been the suggestions, the insight that this man has shared with us today? And just to add to your answer, last but not the least, when you said read the book, because guys, you will have a lot of content and a lot of ideas from the book that you can implement with your clients, and you can help them with a lot of these things that Mr. Suresh has shared in the book. So jump on to this opportunity to get this book today. Mr. Suresh, it has been a fantastic, incredible, fascinating, insightful, full of knowledge session that I had with you today, and I can't thank you enough for joining us today and sharing your ideas. I'm super excited, and I've held a lot of notes on my paper today. So thank you so very much, Mr. Suresh.
So one question, probably, maybe you may wish to ask, if at all, if somebody is looking forward to seek my, professional service, how can I reach out?
That's my next question to you, sir. How can people get in touch with you? So in case, people who are listening to us, if they want to, get in touch with you for your professional services, for your consultancy, may want to hire you or your firm, how they can do so, how people can get in touch.
Yeah, there are two approaches. Number one, if you refer the last page of the book, okay, I have provided all the informations, in case you wish to avail my services. I mean, any viewer who are looking forward to avail the services, all the contact details are there. And for ready reference, what I can share is, maybe somebody can type it out in the chat box.
Sure. So that's the number. I'll just put the number in the chat box for you. It's 9930461682. So that's the number. And in case you want to contact him, I'll just type the email as well, suresh@senereos.co.in. And the website is sureshshetye.com. So guys, the details are there in the chat box. 9930461682 is the number. Suresh@scenarios.co.in is the email ID, and sureshshetty.com is the website. So, I mean, look at this man. He has shared his direct contact details with you. Make no mistake about it. If this session has been transformative for you, you must get in touch with him. Now, Mr. Suresh, any last words from you for the audience, for the people who are watching us today? Any last words, sir?
Yeah, first of all, I'm really grateful and thankful to them. Being Sunday, I understand people have their own priority. People have their own, other programs. But in spite of that, the time which they have invested, okay, I thought it is appropriate and it is my responsibility. I must get, the proper value on their time. So I tried my level best to share my insights, and, I'm looking forward, those who have their dreams, I wish their dream comes true. Those who are looking forward to move from employee to business, okay, their wish also becomes true. And third, those who are looking forward to have their own consulting, coaching business, I wish their wish will also become true. Okay, I'm thankful to them, and great, insights I have. Thankful to your team as well as, entire audience, those who have invested their time. And I've really immensely enjoyed. So thank you very much. Thank you, audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Suresh. And thank you so very much, every single one of you. Any last comments that you want to put in the chat box, please do that, because this is time for us to say good evening. This is time for us to say good night, rather. Enjoy your evening and enjoy your rest of the Sunday. Grab the book, read it, get in touch with the author. Thank you very much, Gagan. Thank you so very much, Sneha, Jitesh, and Sanidhya, every single one of you. I want to thank everyone for attending this program, joining us today. Shridhar, all of you. And thank you, Mr. Suresh, for sharing those absolutely incredible insights from your book. Wish you all the very best and wish you all the success in life. Please
thank you.
Keep transforming businesses. This
sure.
is time
thank you very much.
Say goodbye. Thank you so very much, Mr. Suresh.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.